Welcome aboard Tristan and Tommy's Runaway Railway. For your safety, please remain seated and enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Please Remain Seated, a theme park podcast hosted by two theme park enthusiasts that work for the industry in Central Florida, the theme park capital of the world. We discuss a variety of news, just general theme park discussions, and more. Today, we're going to catch up on a couple of things that we didn't get to at the end of 2022, some information regarding Super Nintendo World at Universal Hollywood, and we're going to discuss some theme park and water park opinion type of things, as well as a TRISTory. Tristan, how are we doing in 2023?
2023, glad to be here. Ready for 358 more days of this year. Pretty sure I did that math right. But yeah, we're doing good. Gonna be completely honest, kind of a slow time for theme park news right now. Tommy and I came to that conclusion before we started recording, but we still have some juice for you.
Yeah, we do have some juice for you. Like you said, not too much news to go over. One news piece that we didn't get to last year, because we had gone a long time without doing an episode, and we had so much news to catch up on that I kind of left this one out, and it is a rumor regarding Top Thrill Dragster. So a prominent theme park YouTuber, El Toro Ryan, who's worked in the industry, who's been a ride operator on a lot of major roller coasters before, he has sources now. Just to keep in mind, nothing has been officially announced by anyone. He's just a guy that says he has a lot of sources, and he's a very respected and trusted YouTuber. That he said that one of the biggest updates regarding Top Thrill Dragster is that Intamin, who manufactured the ride, as well as Kingda Ka, Millennium Force, Velocicoaster, they will not be a part of Top Thrill Dragster's reimagining. And the manufacturer that is supposedly going to be in charge is Zamperla, who is usually known for Wild Mouse coasters and flat rides, which I think came as a big shock to a lot of people. Like, they're the ones that are redoing one of the tallest and fastest roller coasters in the world, like second tallest, third fastest in the world. However, one thing that is feeding into these rumors is that at IAAPA this past year, Zamperla actually announced their new Lightning trains, which they're calling some of the best new trains in the industry that will work on modern LSM launches that can launch at 45 miles per hour or even 124 miles an hour. So it can. They specifically said that these trains will work on the fastest roller coasters in the world. Just depends on the customer's needs. And he kind of said it with a little smirk, maybe potentially nodding at some of the hardcore nerds. And today, El Toro Ryan actually released a new video regarding more information about what he's heard, his rumors, his analysis. That from what he's heard, this reimagining is going to have a somewhat lower capacity than what Top Thrill Dragster used to have, which may sound like a bummer. But if these trains are more reliable, then it might increase just more riders in general, because Top Thrill Dragster suffered from a lot of downtime before. So even if it has a lower capacity, more people might be able to ride it than before if they're actually able to run it. The one time I went to Cedar Point, I went there for 2 days before the incident happened, and the ride was completely down both times I've gone. And I know a lot of people who have gone to Cedar Point who haven't been able to ride it just because it's always down. Or I got to ride Kingda Ka in New Jersey, which is a similar ride. But I have a friend from New Jersey who said, I've never been on Kingda Ka because that ride suffered from similar things. Tristan, I know you have a lot of thoughts regarding roller coaster manufacturers. So what are your thoughts on this?
You heard it here first, folks. Top Thrill Dragster is becoming a Pearl Jam roller coaster.
That's about right. Another thing that we forgot to talk about in 2022 was the Living with the Land holiday overlay. Tristan, did you experience that this year?
Not this year, but I've done it and I love it. I love everything about Living with the Land when it's not at the holidays, and it's one of those rides that's not ruined by a holiday overlay. I don't know if any rides really are, but
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Whoa, I never did the Guardians holiday overlay. Did it ruin it, Tommy?
I wouldn't say it ruined it or anything, but just you know, you normally ride the ride. There's 6 potential songs you can do. The holiday overlay, all they did was like they didn't really add any extra theming. They just had like a holiday mix of songs. And honestly, it wasn't that great. Now I will say I wrote it on Christmas Day with the soundtrack, and I think it hit a little bit different on Christmas Day, but in general, it just did not hit as hard as the original 6 songs. So like they didn't even include Last Christmas by Wham in there,
Mhm.
you know, and it was like it didn't really. I feel like some of the genres and eras weren't even like in the 80s, so like it didn't really fit, you know, or whatever. So, but anyways, Living with the Land. I have been on it in the past. I don't think I went on it in 2021. I don't remember if I think I did in 2020. And I remembered in the past it was literally just Christmas lights with the regular ride. I don't know if they did this in 2021, but in 2022, they called it Living with the Lamb Glimmering Greenhouses. So there is even more extra lights, set pieces, and when you go into the greenhouses, they actually played a little bit of Christmas music and added a different holiday related spiel in regards to the garden. So like they were talking about, you know, the gardens as they do, but also talking about like different holiday plants and just like it was more themed to the holidays. And especially if you went on it at night, it was so cool. Like, did they do that the last time you did it, or was it just lights?
I believe it was just lights. None of
Yeah,
the extra
no. Okay,
giblets you
so
just said, I've never
2022
heard.
Living with the Land holiday overlay was different, and it was so cool. And I really hope they just keep doing it because it was beautiful. But anyways, we forgot to talk about it, and I felt like I had to give it a shout out. So the next time you're in Epcot in December of
Mhm.
2023, so in 10 months, 11 months, ride Living with the Land. Ride Living with the Land anyway, but you know, especially
Mhm.
around the holidays.
Yes.
Yeah. And then our only other news story, because, you know, there's not a lot of news to cover at the beginning of the year, is that Super Nintendo World is going to be opening at Universal Hollywood next month, and their reservation system completely crashed from people trying to make reservations to see Super Nintendo World. Which I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even know that they had a reservation system over there. Um, but you know, I'm not too surprised. It's a very popular property, and I'm very excited to see it here when we get it in Florida.
Yep.
A man of wise
I
words,
was never really a
Tristiano.
Nintendo guy, to be honest.
You
Like
really?
I played Mario Kart on my DS, and that's it. So I didn't grow up with Nintendo,
Oh wow,
and I didn't really grow up going to Universal either. The first time I went to Universal was in 2021.
wow.
So I'm excited to see it, but I do have to be completely honest, I don't know much about it.
I think you might be a big fan of the Yoshi ride at least.
Okay.
The Yoshi ride's looking cool, and then
Yoshi's that
we're
little
we're
toad thing or something?
he's
Mushroom?
the green dinosaur.
Oh, all right.
He's a little dinosaur that you hop on. It'll be a cute people mover looking type of ride,
Huh?
but you're on Yoshi's. So, um, blah blah blah. Anyways, I was gonna say that me and my family, we used to do, you know, we did the Disney World and Universal thing when I was a kid. But Universal when I was a kid was a lot different than what it is now. They had like a lot more like practical animatronics and set pieces with a lot of their rides. Of course, they received a lot of criticism when they started going towards screen-based rides. They started to, you know, go back to more animatronics and stuff, and now people are starting to like more of the work. I remember when I came down here, when I moved to Florida in 2018, I was going to Disney World a lot. And then when I went to Universal for my first time since I was a child, you know, they don't have Jaws anymore. They got rid of all my favorite rides when I was a kid. And I remember my first time going, I was like, oh God, this is kind of trash. But you know, they've recently upped their game a little bit, you know, with Hagrid's Velocicoaster and just kind of their general vibe recently. And then of course Epic Universe, they're gonna have Super Nintendo World and a whole bunch of other cool crap. I cannot wait to get more into that once that opens. But Universal. And then I've always loved Super Nintendo. Like I think it's gonna be a big deal for sure. And as we see, it's crashing Hollywood.
Oh,
Yeah,
crazy stuff.
crazy stuff.
So some Universal history might be coming at us later in the episode. But
Uh-oh.
we got some
Ka-chow.
funk to get through before we do that though.
We do have some funk. When I was on Reddit the other day, since, we don't have as much news, there was an interesting question I saw. And, there was a lot of, it's usually more local parks, like not like, destination parks like in Disney, but like other theme parks that will have water parks in them. And it was, what are your guys' thoughts on those? Like, if you're a local, do you like going to the water parks while you're in the theme park? Or what are your general thoughts on water parks? Because we really don't talk about water parks enough on this show. Like, I literally think the only water park related news we ever had was when Disney was reopening or closing whichever park, and how at Blizzard Beach, like their kid area has some Frozen theming now. But anyways, Tristan, do you have any thoughts on these?
I, as far as I know, have only been to two, well, really one park that's like this, and that would be Six Flags Great America does have, I don't know, Pee Pants Water Park or something. I don't remember what it's called, but I never went to it. I never heard really great things about it. It seems like a weird thing to put a water park in your theme park.
See, that's my thought too.
So
Like,
logistically, I don't want to have to carry around a towel and swim
yeah,
trunks and a waterproof bag and all those things, in addition to going on roller coasters and stuff. So
yeah. That's kind of my thing, because like I think some theme parks, I don't know if it's been happening recently, but there definitely was like a trend of theme parks. Like I know like Carowinds is one, my like in my home state, like they have a water park in their theme park, and they actually tore down one of their old roller coasters in part of expanding the water park, which I think is ridiculous, because I'm kind of with you. Like if I'm going to a theme park, I'm going to a theme park. I don't want to carry around my bathing suit. If I'm going to a water park, that's a whole other operation. I got my bathing suit, I got to change. Like, especially like, if you're traveling or whatever. Like, if you're a local, I mean, I guess I can see that as like a potential thing, but I don't really see the draw.
no, man,
Like, water parks are separate for me. Um, how do you generally feel about water parks?
I am not a fan. To
You
be,
just don't like them.
yeah, to be completely honest, I don't really care for swimming. I don't really care for being in chemically treated water. Not that I'm against being in chemically treated water, but it's usually kind of gross. Um,
Hmm.
in my different careers in my life, I have learned about kind of how recreational water bodies are and how dirty they can be. Um,
Yeah.
and I want no part of it. Um, I will say I have actually only been to a Disney water park once, and that was Typhoon Lagoon. Um, don't really care to go back. Um,
Well,
I went to my local water park in Illinois probably 4 or 5 times. It's the largest water park in Illinois, and it was fun. Just still didn't really care for it. I liked the lazy river the best.
yeah, lazy rivers are great.
So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I mean, it actually took 2 cruises for my girlfriend to even convince me to go on the water slide that's on the cruise ship.
Oh, wow.
Which without getting into the cruise thing too much, the aqueduct
Mhm.
goes out over the edge of the ship and it's completely clear. So you look down and you're just looking down 13 decks to the ocean.
That's
Um,
cool. I
yeah,
like
and
that.
it was cool. It was a cool view because you look to your one side and everybody's on the cruise ship enjoying themselves in the pool watching the movie. You look out the other side and it's just absolutely nothing because it's the ocean forever.
Mhm.
But it took her 2 cruises to convince me to go on that because I just don't want to be in that dirty water.
No, that's very valid, because I sort of feel that way when going to water. Like, I've had friends that have like worked as a lifeguard at a water park, and they said the days they've had to jump in the water, those are the days they get sick. So if that tells you anything, that's why I usually try to shower really hard now. I have a thing where like I've never had a bad time at a water park, and I always like I enjoy like I always have a fun time. Like water parks are very fun, but I ever rarely feel the desire to go to one. Like it has like I have to be in a very specific mood, or somebody has to invite me, and I'll go, yeah, I'll go to that. And I'll be like, oh wow, I forgot that water slides are kind of fun. I actually think water slides are scarier than roller coasters.
Agreed.
Like, they're a lot more like roller coasters are more technologically secure and everything. A water slide, who knows if I'm gonna fly out of the tube or whatever. Um, a lot more room for injury.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, when there's no tube, it's just your body.
Oh yeah.
falling down a structure. I don't know. Yeah, no, not for me.
Yeah.
But to each their own. My favorite thing is to just sit. I just like to sit. I'll
Yeah.
still put swim trunks on and a button down, but I just want to sit.
I do gotta say, I hate wave pools.
You hate wave pools? Yeah, me too. It's hard to swim in. I'm an okay swimmer,
Mm.
but it's pathetic when I'm trying to tread water in
It's
a wave
just
pool.
it's like, yeah, it's like not even my swimming ability. It's just, I think I just remembered there was one time I was like, I was in a wave pool at some water park. I don't even remember which one it was when I was a kid. I just remember seeing um human waste floating in the wave pool, and that made me that's turned me off of wave pools, I think. And then plus, like I think I went in like the Typhoon Lagoon wave pool sometime this past summer, and that's the first time I've been in a wave pool in years.
Mm.
And you're just being slammed into other people, and just why do people like wave pools? I don't get it.
I used to love them as a kid. Like that was my
Yeah,
favorite part. I
yeah,
said I like the lazy river the best.
yeah.
I went to the Wisconsin Dells at one point. I don't know if non-Midwestern people even know what the Wisconsin Dells are, but kind of a crummy tourist area in Wisconsin. But the wave pool was my favorite part. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so the slide sucked, is what I'm hearing.
I don't even think I went on. They had like 2 or 3 slides. I didn't
Okay.
even want to go on. They had a cool go-kart track,
Ooh, I like me a good go-kart track.
maybe a couple roller coasters, but I don't go there, Tommy.
Okay, don't
Unless
go to
you're out.
Wisconsin.
Unless you're out of places to go. It's not worse than Ohio. It's got worse theme parks than Ohio, but overall,
Yeah,
Wisconsin isn't as bad as Ohio. But
yeah. Ohio has the 2 theme parks, and that's about it.
that is it. And a cursed football field, but
Yeah,
whatever.
I like whenever like I went to Ohio, this past year for Cedar Point and Kings Island, and somebody's like, "Why are you going to Ohio?" And I'm like, "For Cedar Point and Kings Island, they have great roller coasters." Like, yeah, that's all they're good for. I'm like, I know, that's why I'm here. I'm not trying to fight you on this. I, you know, I get it,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
but
yeah. No water parks for me. I'll stick to theme parks. Man, water parks just don't have the fun that a theme park does. Like water park food isn't good. The food at Typhoon didn't look good at all. And like Disney
yeah,
parks generally have decent food, like good food. And
yeah, no, that's very valid. Water park food is basically just theme park food. Yeah, yeah, the Disney parks, you expect a little bit higher quality, but
yeah.
it basically is just theme park food. I have friends that have claimed that they were able to bring in alcohol into these parks, into the water parks, because Disney security, there actually isn't security really at Disney water parks.
Hmm.
Like, there's no bag check there, which is kind of scary, but
Mm.
um a tidbit for alcoholics maybe. How you doing, Olaf?
Yeah, for our audio listeners, Olaf is trying to climb up my body. All the more
Olaf is
reason you
Tristan's
should
dog.
check out Olaf is my dog, not another human. Um, and if you want to see my 2-year-old beagle, it's actually his birthday today.
Happy birthday.
Yep. We adopted him a year ago today. So he's 2, I think. That they said he's a year old when we adopted him. You can go to our YouTube channel. Please remain seated. And you can like, subscribe, bell icon, all that stuff that we're going to repeat at the end of the episode. Water
Good
parks
channel.
suck.
All right. Before we would go into your Tristery lesson, you wanted to talk about Roller Coaster Tycoon a little bit, I believe.
This is something I've been thinking about a little bit. Like maybe we could do a whole episode on Roller Coaster Tycoon, but
Yeah.
we could use it for some filler right now for sure. Tommy and I have both been, I don't know. Tommy, would you call yourself a lifelong RCT player?
I would say so. I've been playing it as far back as I can remember. Like, I remember being a little kid playing it, watching my brother and his friends play it, and now I even have it on my phone. Like, there's Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic. It is literally the old Roller Coaster Tycoon and Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 like into one game, and I've beaten all of like the original scenarios and bought the expansion packs. I haven't really delved deep into those yet, but yeah, I watch a lot of Marcel Voss, who
Mm-hmm.
gives you a lot of good Roller Coaster Tycoon tips. Like, he's kind of just helped me beat parks pretty easily. But
Yes, check
yeah,
out Marcel Voss for sure. Last name Vos, I believe.
VOS.
Marcel Voss.
Hello
Love.
and welcome to another video.
Yeah, I don't know where he's from, but it is fun to listen to.
I think he. I want to say you said the Netherlands. I could be wrong though.
mm. So Roller Coaster Tycoon, for those who aren't aware, is like a game where you have to build a theme park. And it sounds very basic, but there's a lot of intricate things that you have to do while you're building your theme park. There are many things you have to take in consideration. There's marketing involved. You have to know who your audience is. Different parks will actually have different types of guests that have different thrill factors, that have more money, that have less money. You need to take that into consideration when you're pricing your attractions, putting less thrilling rides before more thrilling rides so people can work their way up to more thrilling rides. Don't put food near very thrilling rides because then people will just throw up. Make sure you have bathrooms. Make sure you have.
Oh, I never even thought about that.
I've read the guide. I have the guide like up here
Wow.
somewhere. I've read it
I
a bunch of
never
times.
I never made that connection, truthfully.
And it's one of those things. And then not only that, but you have to keep track of what's going on in real time. You have to see, are your attractions remaining profitable? How much is their profit? How much is their downtime? How much is their reliability? You have to look at what your guests are thinking, so you can actually go and you can look at what all of the guests are thinking, and you can group them to most popular to least popular. So if 100 people are saying, I'm hungry, there's nowhere to get food around here, then you know you have to put food in. You can set different budgets for research and development, and you can even select what type of research and development you want. If you want to focus strictly on food kiosks, if you want to focus strictly on thrill rides, there's all of these decisions that go into it. And it's actually a really great way to kind of get into, I don't want to say management, but a way to think about something as a much bigger picture rather than just something small. Because you have to think about all of those things going on at once in Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Because you even need to hire handyman and mechanic. You hire the mechanics, and you choose how many mechanics you have. You can put how often rides get inspected. So the more often you inspect a ride, the less likely it is to break down. But then also you got to make sure you have enough mechanics, because if you have a big park and only a couple mechanics, then your rides are more likely to take hits.
They're going to take hits, and that you're going to lose money when that happens. Also, if a ride doesn't get fixed quick enough, it can crash. Is anything worse than a crashed roller coaster, Tommy?
Oh God, not many things.
I don't know if it's the same for you, but for me, I've noticed you can't
Are we talking about Roller Coaster Tycoon?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Well, and reality.
Reality. I think there's a few things, but anyways, no, yes, because that's really annoying. If a roller coaster just crashes and then you have to completely rebuild it, it is so annoying.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's not even the roller coaster breaks. I've had roller coasters that didn't have any issues, and it's usually the Sidewinder one. There's certain wooden roller coaster types that'll I build a really good design and then out of nowhere it just crashes. Have you ever had that happen?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah,
It's a
it's the
real
worst.
bummer. Just a couple of weeks ago, I built 3 roller coasters that were all intertwined with each other. And they had the adjacent stations, but I didn't set it to run because you can actually set, if you have roller coasters with adjacent stations, they can all leave the station together, and kind of duel or whatever. I didn't do that, but anyway, one of them crashed, and I had to delete it and rebuild it. But it was all intertwined with other roller coasters, so it was really, really tricky. But anyway, Roller Coaster Tycoon, fun game.
Yeah, I remember there was one time where a couple times where my roller coaster crashed, and I literally was deleting the old roller coaster as I was building a new one to follow it, just to try to redo it, and it's tedious. Another underrated thing to consider when building your theme park and also going to theme parks is your park layout. Making sure that your pathways don't have dead ends so your guests don't get lost.
That can be a big one.
Because whenever I think about some of my favorite parks, in real life, I think about their park layout. That was one of the things I really loved about Kings Island, is that they basically had one circle when I was comparing it to Cedar Point, walking the entire circle around Cedar Point takes the same amount of time to walk from the front to the back of Cedar Point. That doesn't even include all the pathways that you can take. Because, maybe you're walking by Valraven and Millennium Force, or maybe you're walking by Gemini and Magnum XL 200 instead. And that's about the same distance as walking all the way around Kings Island. That doesn't even include coming all the way back. It is a very big layout. But anyways, park layouts are a big thing.
Highly recommend the game for folks who haven't played it. Real fun time. It is addicting. You will spend hours on it. But
yes,
hopping out of that, we're going to go into our little theme park tristory here. I did tease it earlier. Universal. We've never done any theme park history that wasn't Disney related, I believe. So I decided let's give some love to Universal because you have some interesting stuff that went on there. And this is a very basic coverage of the Universal theme parks. Perhaps later we will get more into depth on it because in my brief research that I did today, I was like, oh man, there's some fun things I'd like to look into deeper here. So we'll actually start with the first, which is actually Universal Studios Hollywood, believe it or not. And this is kind of a trick answer because Universal Studios Hollywood opened as a park in 1964, slowly morphing into what we know now as a theme park. However, the property opened as a movie studio in 1912, meaning Universal has run that property for 111 years. It is on the same exact land, on the same property that the Universal, like film studios and stuff like that is on, which is very interesting. It gives it much more of a deep history than even Disneyland really has. Considering Universal took over that property when Walt was 11 years old. Kind of an interesting thing there. So Universal Studios Hollywood's Wizarding World of Harry Potter opened in 2016 with Flight of the Hippogriff and Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. I'm going to be including these significant expansions, at least the big ones, in all of the Universal properties. Universal Orlando opened in 1990, competing with Disney in their opening of the Disney MGM Studios, which opened over a year prior. That actually has a fun little backstory. I may have said it before on the show. Michael Eisner was exposed to some information about Universal opening a park in Central Florida, and he said, I'm going to beat you to it. And he opened his own.
He's like, let me just open this up very quickly with 2 rides. One of them being 4 hours long just to beat Universal to the punch.
Yeah, true. MGM opened with the backlot tour, which was several hours long and a great movie ride. Anyway,
R.I.P.
Yes, rip both of them, honestly. Universal's Islands of Adventure opened in 1999, and Universal City Walk was opened that same year, mirroring Hollywood City Walk, which opened in 1993. Lots of expansion in the 90s for Universal. With the main park opening in 1990, and then only 9 years later, opening their second park and City Walk. I could go into detail about the expansions Universal has done in Florida, or all of the places really, but the important ones are the first phase of Harry Potter, which was Hogsmeade in 2010 and Diagon Alley in 2014. They really beat Disney to the giant themed lands, and I know we've talked about that before, but it is rumored that the upcoming Epic Universe Park will also feature a Harry Potter themed land. I'm actually sure it will. I don't even know if it's rumored anymore.
The big rumor. I keep hearing, Super Nintendo World is the one that they have confirmed, and then the other ones that are talked about are Universal Monsters, another Wizarding World land that I think is going to be more based off Fantastic Beasts, and then How to Train Your Dragon land as well as their central hub. But all the reports, everyone that talks about Epic Universe mentions those lands. There hasn't been anything else. There hasn't been any other potential land. So if it's something other than those 4, it'll be a big shock, really.
True that. Universal's Volcano Bay, speaking of water parks, which I have never been to, opened in 2017, which replaced Wet n Wild. Didn't know that. I always heard about Wet n Wild. Didn't know Volcano Bay replaced it. There's a little bit of an interesting thing there. Wet n Wild was founded by SeaWorld founder George Miller, or Mylar, I don't know, but was purchased by Universal in 1998, further adding to all the crazy stuff Universal was doing in Florida in the 90s. So Universal Japan opened in 2001. Wizarding World of Harry Potter opened in 2014. Super Nintendo World opened there in 2021. Yeah, Singapore opened in 2011. Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge is currently under construction there right now.
Nice.
That sounds pretty fun. Beijing, Universal's third Asian property, opened in 2021. Wizarding World of Harry Potter opened with the park. So they're really putting that everywhere. Tommy, do you have any other pieces of information about the Universal parks that you want to share?
I feel like in terms of history, I feel like you definitely like covered all the basic ones. I know you had mentioned, they beat Disney to like the themed lands with Harry Potter, and I think that's like, one of the biggest inspirations for Pandora World of Avatar and then Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and like why Disney is kind of like looking more into big themed lands. You got your Toy Story land that, that also went into what do you call it? The Paris Studios Park. They're
Yeah.
doing like Frozen lands and some of the international parks as well. So it's honestly literally them trying to do what Universal did with Harry Potter.
Yeah, and I got to say, one of the most basic business things you'll ever hear is that competition is healthy. And in this case, it totally is, because you think about where we would be right now in theme parks if Universal had never done what they did with Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Would there be this crazy expansion of really in-depth themed entire lands if Universal hadn't done that?
Yeah, and now like Disney might potentially do something, but they are doing Zootopia. They are for sure like they're working on a Zootopia land in Shanghai, and they might be doing it in Animal Kingdom here. Like they haven't confirmed it, but they said that they might do that.
Mhm.
So yeah, I kind of have mixed feelings about just entire themed lands just for the sake of doing them. But when they work like, like Harry Potter land and like honestly even like the world of Avatar Pandora, I really love it's one of my favorite areas in any of the parks. And then Super Nintendo World I'm very excited for. That's gonna be really good.
Well, all right. There's my
Yeah.
Tristory for Universal. Perhaps we'll revisit this in a future episode.
Dun dun dun. Well, that is all that we have to talk about today on Please Remain Seated. Thank you for listening. Sorry today was a bit slower on the news part, but hopefully we'll have a little bit more. Or if we don't have news, we'll just come up with more topics. If you guys have any suggestions, let us know, and we will talk about them on the next Please Remain Seated. Tristan, do you have anything to say with your mouth?
Yes, got some mouth noises for you here. Feel free to check out all of our social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We're really trying to grow our YouTube channel right now, so go ahead and subscribe to that. If you like to watch the video version, we put the video version of every episode up there, and that's becoming more popular right now with podcasts. So highly recommend that. Like I said, Facebook, check that out while we have it. My account was hacked a couple months ago, and some very disgusting things were posted on my behalf on that page. So it's actually really close to being taken down.
Cool.
But anyway, we're still going to have our Twitter and Instagram. So check that out. Also, our Not Safe for Work, inappropriate, explicit comedy podcast, Two Useless Organisms. Tommy and I do that. Definitely for the adults only. Yes.
Yeah. Tug on your yellow strap.
Bye.